Matt, and I'm a product manager at Boss for Roland Europe, and I'm here with the guys at GAK Vision today to bring you something very special. We have the Roland Tone Capsule Selector. These are very, very limited, and they're a not-for-sale item, but I brought them down today because we wanted to show off our amazing selection of tone capsules. So for people who don't know what tone capsules are or Blues Cubes are, I'll give you a little bit of a background. Blues Cube was an amp that Roland developed a few years ago using something that we developed called Tube Logic. So Tube Logic basically analyzes and works out the way that an analog circuit behaves and then recreates that in a solid state form without using valves. So Boss have kind of been trying to push the boundaries of modern technology and take something that everyone loves, which is a valve amp, and kind of take out some of the elements that are more prone to failure, for example, like valves, and replace them with something with the Roland and Boss quality, which means that it's sturdy, it's roadworthy, and it's always going to work. So we've got an analog input and output stage with a certain stage in the middle that is digitally controlled, and under the hood you've got a ton of parameters people like us can't necessarily tweak, but the engineers at Boss can actually go in and physically change certain elements to make it react like a different resistor or a different capacitor or a different type of valve. So the initial Blues Cube was based off some of the kind of more vintage amps, from the 50s and 60s, and tuned into something of a sound that people are going to know and recognise straight away. We've got a 212 model here. This is the Blues Cube Artist, and you've got two channels, clean and crunch, 3-band EQ with reverb and trem, master volume, and then a power control. Now the power control is also very unique because it's been taking a lot of time to recreate how, rather than just turning down the volume, how an amp would react at lower power stages. You've also got nice features like dual tone that allow the clean and drive at the same time. So constantly, taking that vintage sound and bringing it into the kind of modern world. Now, the tone capsules, how do they fall into this? Well, there is something, as I said, called Tube Logic, and Tube Logic allows the guys at Boss to tune different amplifiers, add them into one of their tiny little tone capsules here, and pop it into the amp. Now what it does when it turns into the amp, it completely changes the internal workings of the amplifier. You're not just downloading a different sound. There's no way you can get these sounds out of the amp without these little boxes. There's thousands of different parameters that they can change and physically mold the amp, I suppose, to how they want it. So with each one of the tone capsules, it literally gives you a completely different flavour. It gives you a different way the amp will respond and react. The controls will react differently. They might do different things in terms of how wide the sweep is, how much gain it might give you, how much volume it might give you. And we've got 4 capsules in the range at the moment, 2 which are sort of artist, not clones, but they're designed in conjunction with an artist to recreate their sound. And then we've got 2 that have been designed in conjunction with another artist based on the amplifiers. They're kind of maybe a little bit more fame-fusing, or the amplifiers that they sort of prefer. So what we'll do is we've got a Fender Strat, we've got a Boss BD2W Blues driver, and we're going to run through a few of the capsules. Now, because it's a nice high impedance analog input on the Blues Cube, it takes pedals really well. So unlike a lot of solid state amps that might kind of sound a bit muffled, for example, when you put a distortion in front of it, this literally gives you the clean, and clear response that you want from a valve amp, and responds the same way that you'd expect a valve amp to respond. So let's plug it in and give it a listen. Cool. So what we've got all 4 here. So what I'm going to do is just show you the unaffected, or I should say the standard Blues Cube sound first, and then we'll switch to one of the newer tone capsules. So here's just the standard clean sound of the Blues Cube Artist straight out of the box. And then a bit of the drive channel for you. Cool, so the first one I wanted to show you is our newest one. This is the New York Blues. Now this was designed in conjunction with the amazing sort of blues jazz fusion player that is Osnoy. Amazing player, great sound. So he helped design this one in kind of response to sort of the classic sort of 60s Class A sort of sound that you'd expect from an amp that looks very similar to this. And you know, it's kind of bright, it's got more of that kind of sharper response to it. The crunch is a little bit more sparkly, it's not kind of thick as thick on the bottom end as say maybe some more of the kind of vintage like basement type things basically. So we'll start with the clean sound. Add a little bit more treble to that, we'll just brighten up a little bit. So you can hear it's got that real kind of nice 60s sort of sparkle to it. Right, so we've heard the clean sound on the New York Blues, so let's just have a listen to the drive sound. I think this is where it sort of comes into its own because you start to get a little bit of that sort of grittier sort of hair to the note. But dynamically, it still responds to whether you're using a pick or fingers and how hard or soft you hit the string. And then let's kick a bit of extra boost in there. Like I said, it takes pedals really well. So we've got the blues driver here. So this is off. So for the next one, I switched over to the Ultimate Blues. Now this was designed in conjunction with the amazing blues guitarist Kirk Fletcher, and it's kind of based on some of the kind of blackface amps that he used from the 1960s, and it's there for that more 6v6 type tone. So really nice, bright, you know, we've obviously got the nice reverb on here as well, so that sort of classic sound that you'd sort of come to expect. So here's the clean sound. And then we'll switch over to the crunch channel. So the third one we've got is the Robben Ford Tone Capsule. So this was actually designed in conjunction with Robben Ford himself and based on the kind of amps that he's famous for using, those kind of like modified, like Dumble-esque amplifiers. So the clean channel is really warm and rich, and you've obviously got that nice singing drive channel as well. And it's great with the dual tone because you still get the punch of the clean channel, but you also get that kind of the hair that you want on the note from the drive channel. So here we go, here's the clean sound. And let's kick in a bit of the overdrive pedal as well on the clean. And let's engage the crunch channel as well. So you can tell, different to some of the other capsules, this isn't giving you the kind of real singing heavy drive. This is just giving you something quite sweet tonally that's just nice for that sort of bluesy sort of jazz rock. So the last one I want to quickly show you is the Eric Johnson Tone Capsule. So this is the first one they did, and it makes a huge difference to the sound of the Blues Cube. Whenever kind of someone says to me, oh, what does it really do? The Eric Johnson is the one that shows you the biggest difference in the sounds. Mainly because they're going for 2 different amps in this. So that's the nice thing about the Tube Logic, is that each channel can be tuned to almost like a different amplifier. So we're kind of replicating Eric Johnson's setup by using his Fender on one side and a Marshall on another, and that's sort of what you're getting. And the crunch channel is giving you that slightly kind of muffled, sort of real thick, creamy sound that Eric Johnson's known for in his lead playing. And obviously the clean channel's really nice and bright and sparkly. We've got the blues driver, as I said, just for a kind of bit of extra boost, which is what he's using on that. So what we'll do is we'll also use the dual tone with this, because he actually uses those amps in conjunction occasionally as well, so you'll get an idea of what that sounds like. So let's go with the clean sound. and now let's hear the drive sound. So this is kind of that classic. And we'll pop the dual tone in as well. So you can kind of blend the two channels together. So there we have it. That is a very quick overview of the Roland Blues Cube tone capsules for the Roland Blues Cube series. That works with the Artist 212 stage and the Tour. Amazing amplifiers. Really recommend you come and try them out because, as I said, they dynamically really respond to the way that you play. Just like a real, valve amp would, these have the same power and feel. And a lot of the time that comes from under the fingers and the player feedback, the interaction you get from your instrument and the speakers and the amplifier. So come down, check them out. Tone capsules are amazing. They really help open up the amp to a whole new world. So if you do lots of different gigs, lots of different types, rather than buying 6 different amplifiers, you can do it all with the tone capsules. So yeah, pop down and try one out.